It's the middle of the night, 3:47 a.m. The silence feels thick, as if the air itself is holding its breath. Suddenly, a deep sound tears through the darkness. Not the high-pitched wail of a fire truck, not the usual city siren. Something lower, heavier. An ancient call that awakens in your body an instinct you didn't even know you had. Your phone vibrates on the nightstand so hard it feels for a moment like a heart outside your chest. The glow blinds your sleepy eyes. Your fingers slip from the nerves, and then you read, DEFCON 1 activated. Multiple attacks detected. Seek. Immediate shelter. Time changes texture. The clock keeps ticking, but each second now weighs like a stone. Your face heats up, your throat dries, your mind whispers, this can't be real, as if denial could be a blanket strong enough to block. Out the cold already seeping in. And deep inside your chest, one question refuses to be silenced. What do I do now? Stop. Listen. Notice what shifts inside your home. The background noise of the neighborhood disappears. Footsteps echo in the hallway. Doors slam upstairs. Someone. Curses! A child cries. The neighbor's dog, always barking at nothing, now barks differently, as if it too understands the world just turned down a street with no return. And between each outside sound, another layer grows louder, your own head turning against you. Calm down, it must be a mistake. It's just a test. I'll check social media. Someone will explain. Your finger tries to open. The same app you check every morning. For comfort, for confirmation. But tonight, that instinct is a trap. Tonight, hesitation is stepping blindfolded to the cliff's edge. You know most people will freeze. Not because they're weak. Not because they don't love their families. But because they've been trained, without ever realizing it, to look for explanations before shelter, validation before water, conversation before silence. That's how 99% fall in the first minutes, underestimating the alert, running without, assessing risk, drinking in misinformation, ignoring the basics, talking too much, deciding in the middle of the fire, and breaking inside before the lights even go out. That won't be you. Not tonight. Feel the weight of the first mistake. Underestimating the alert. It seduces with a sweet voice. Overreaction. False alarm. Just a story. That voice saves you energy now, only to spend it with interest later. Because when the truth hits the street, it won't knock first. And you won't want to be the one who lost 10 minutes arguing with your own skepticism when you could have gained 10 hours on chaos. Tonight, the window of action is a needle's eye, narrow, short, cruel. You either pass or you don't. Breathe. Feel the air go in slow, out slow. Your body wants to run. Your mind wants to debate. You will act. Don't leap for the door like diving into a river without checking the current. Before a single step, ask 3 questions worth more than gold. Am I in a probable impact zone? Is outside more dangerous than inside right now? Do I have a better shelter within 15 minutes? Away from main roads? Away from crowds? Instinctive flight is the second mistake. Crowded streets aren't escape routes, they're traps. Traffic jams turn into glass cabinets, everyone staring, everyone exposed. No one in control. Panicked crowds turn into dust, shoves, falls, chaos. Secondary explosions don't warn twice. That impulse to flee without thinking, it's the choice many never return from. You want information. Of course you do. But the right kind. The kind that lights the way, not blinds it. Your finger itches to open social media. Don't. Tonight, the algorithm isn't your friend. It offers volume, not truth. Noise, not roots. The third trap is the wrong source. Your life doesn't fit into a 3-line rumor with 1,000 shares. Look for what has always existed in emergencies. Official alerts, radio, open broadcasts, government messaging, clear signals. If the power dies, if the 4G becomes a ghost, a simple radio can still speak when the rest of the world only screams. In crisis, knowing first is the difference between crossing the bridge or finding out it's already gone. In crisis, knowing Right is the difference between stopping in the most unsafe spot in your city or choosing, by a millimeter of decision, the place that holds ... You think of food, of water, and your mind whispers, "I'll deal with it later." Not later. Now. The fourth mistake is treating the basics like they're secondary. Stop imagining the world will keep serving you while it collapses. In hours, sometimes minutes, stores close, registers lock, water darkens, power dies. The luxury of thinking, "I'll hit the market later," disappears as fast as the shelves empty. No one thinks clearly hungry. No one protects their family thirsty. The basics aren't glamorous, but they're what keep your head up when the sky weighs down. Bottles, containers, faucets running, now, without debate. If the water still flows, turn minutes into reserves. If the light still shines, use it to prepare for darkness. You remember your kit, what you saved, what you missed, and suddenly you want to warn someone, to tell your neighbor you've got a plan, to post that you're under control, to prove you're responsible, right? Prepared. Hold it in. Silence is shelter too. The fifth mistake is talking too much. In scarcity, words become beacons, and beacons attract both ships and pirates. Resources turn into other people's desire, and that desire turns into risk for yours. Tonight, we're all in this together. Must be balanced with my family first. It isn't selfishness. It's survival priority when every minute already belongs to someone. And then comes the question you should have answered yesterday. Do you stay or do you leave? The sixth mistake is born from this late indecision. Deciding in the middle of the storm is deciding with your eyes full of dust. The choice feels impossible only because it was left for the wrong moment. You need criteria, simple, strong enough to cut through the noise. If you're in a clear target zone, if staying carries more risk than leaving, then the exit must be immediate. Not heroic, not loud, but strategic. Secondary routes, fuel already planned, meeting point defined. If you're outside the initial A, target. If your shelter is solid, if the path to something better is long and exposed, then staying may be the safest decision you'll make this decade. And no decision should be born from panic. Panic doesn't choose. Panic bulldozes. Finally, the seventh mistake. The most invisible, the most treacherous, the first to enter and last to leave, denying the mental battlefield. You tell yourself supplies and shelter are everything. But who uses the supplies? Who maintains the shelter? The mind. If it cracks, the best stockpile turns into chaos. The best plan turns to wet paper. The best opportunity turns into later. Shallow breaths turn into fights at home, into forgotten details, into unlocked doors. You won't allow it. You'll breathe deep. Set your rhythm. Inhale to 4. Exhale to 6. Again. The body slows. The mind steps back. And behind it appears the space where true decisions fit. You'll speak little, clear. You'll look into the eyes of those with you and tell them what must be. Done now and what comes after. No poetry, no heroics, no guilt. Just a path. Outside, the sounds shift again. The siren keeps wailing, but now cars roar too fast. Brakes scream on corners. Something heavy crashes. A gate slams hard. The building, the street, the city, everything moves as if trying to separate those who already know where they're going. And you'll find yourself facing tiny rituals that look insignificant, but decide everything. Lacing sturdy shoes, checking documents in a single envelope, putting a spare key in a pocket you actually use, filling containers to the brim, unplugging fire hazards, cutting off what an electrical surge could fry. Simple things. Annoying things. Life-saving things. You. Think of scenarios you've trained yourself to ignore because they're unpleasant. You think of an EMP silencing cell phones. You think of blackouts that wipe out more than light. They wipe out patience, distractions, illusions. You think of networks down, banks frozen, traffic lights dead, stores locked, streets packed beyond safety. And with a coldness you never thought you had, you think of what not to do. Don't run to the market as if it were a parent. Don't fight for every rumor as if it were a map. Don't separate from loved ones out of pride. Don't open the door for every "help me" when you know you can't even protect two if you barely protect one. Compassion exists and will be needed, but compassion without discernment is an invitation to tragedy inside your shelter. You organize your home like drawing a map. You choose the innermost room, away from windows, 2 walls between you and the street. You put inside what should always have been ready: water, food, flashlights, radio, batteries, essential meds, documents, spare clothes, blanket, chargers, a basic first aid kit, something to calm the kids quietly. You explain it like a flight attendant giving turbulence instructions, short, objective, repeated twice, with eye contact. No promises you can't keep, no false sense of control, only what is real: focus, sequence, care. You'll want to peek through the window. You'll want to know more than you need to act. You'll want to argue, to blame, to stall. You won't. You'll return to your breath, to the micro tasks that anchor sanity. Count bottles, mark times, list what's missing, ration what exists, recheck the route, secure the door. Everything has a beginning, middle, and end. And everything, with beginning, middle, and end, fits inside your head. That's what you need. Controlled cycles in an uncontrolled world. If you must leave, you'll go as if walking through smoke. Low, decisive, silent. Sturdy shoes, tough pants, a wind-cutting jacket, a backpack light enough to run, heavy enough to matter. No trinkets, no just in case. Just in case weighs more than courage. Secondary route, less obvious, less lit. Because obvious routes are where everyone goes, and where everyone goes is where problems explode. Avoid main roads if you can. Avoid shortcuts you don't know in daylight. Avoid following the voice yelling "this way" when you don't know who it belongs to. If you stay, you'll stay like setting stone. Closing what must close, opening what must stay open, isolating what's fragile, grouping what's vital. You'll check the gas, unplug sparks waiting to happen, keep an extra bucket of water nearby, reduce noise to hear the world while not revealing your own rhythm. Noise calls noise. Silence chooses who enters. Tonight, that matters more than ever. Your heart pounds loud. Sometimes your mind tugs at your sleeve again. This is exaggerated, absurd. Just a movie. Every mind tries to protect itself with disbelief when reality is too expensive to accept. But reality doesn't ask permission to exist, and acceptance isn't agreement. It's positioning. Acceptance means using the minutes you have like the last coin of a collapsing country. You'll spend it wisely. Now bring yourself back to the only question that matters in the next 15 minutes. What is the next right action? Just 1, not 2, not 10. 1. Fill water. Lock a door. Separate documents. Turn on the radio. Breathe. To count. Action creates traction. Traction pulls you out of panic. And each micro-victory becomes a brick in a wall that shields you inside. Even when everything outside is trying to break in. Later, you'll hear stories. The neighbor who left and never came back. The family that argued for 15 minutes and missed the uncle's shelter. The person who said, "I'll refuel later," and now sits behind a ton of useless metal. The store that promised just a little longer and turned into a pushing arena. The building that chose talk over procedure and paid the price. Don't let your story join theirs. Remember something no one likes to say out loud, but it slices survivors from victims with surgical precision. Help may not come. Not today, not tomorrow. And if it comes, maybe not to your street. Don't build your plan on the hope of a truck you don't drive. Build it on what you control now. 1 more liter of water, 1 less rumor, 1 route mapped, 1 decision made, 1 clear conversation with those in the room. The ones trembling, the ones asking, "What if?" You'll answer, "If X happens, we do Y. And if it doesn't, we stay on the simple plan." Short rules, short phrases, short steps. Maybe the siren will stop. Maybe it will come back louder. Maybe the building will tremble and you'll feel the fragility of the walls that always surrounded you without asking anything in return. Maybe the city will feel, for a second, like a strange organism made of fear and smoke. Still, there will be spaces. There always are. Spaces between one sound and another, one news and another, one look and another. It's in those spaces that you place your decisions. It's in those spaces that you save what can be saved, and that always starts, first, with your own head. You don't need to be an expert to understand what's in front of you. You need to be honest. Honest enough to admit the world works fine, until the day it doesn't. Honest enough to admit the gap between all normal and nothing normal is shorter than we're told. To accept that preparation isn't paranoia, it's maturity. Stockpiles aren't madness, they're consideration for tomorrow. A plan isn't neurosis, it's respect for your own. Silence isn't coldness, it's protection. Breathing slow isn't weakness, it's command. Soon, when the first emotional wave ebbs, when the noise settles into a constant hum, when your hands stop trembling just enough to hold a glass steady, do an exercise worth more than any checklist. Close your eyes for 3 seconds and imagine the worst step you could take right now. See it, feel the urge to take it, and then consciously, don't. The world is littered with bad steps that carry final consequences. You'll choose the next good step, small, concrete, repeatable. And when this video ends, I want you to write in the comments, with the same honesty that takes courage. Which of these 7 mistakes do you admit you'd make if the alert sounded? Right now? Name it. Give it shape. Because once you name the enemy, it shrinks. And if this content gave you a margin of advantage, 1 more minute of clarity, 1 more liter of water, 1 less decision made in panic, then subscribe and hit the bell. Because this isn't a movie ending in credits. It's the first chapter of a practical series about surviving real collapses. Blackouts that outlast your patience, cyber attacks that break more than logins, shortages that test more than wallets. Moments when the state shrinks too small to hold everyone at once. Don't wait for the next siren to act. Preparation isn't fear. Preparation is freedom. Freedom from rumor. Freedom from begging for a solution that may never come. Freedom to choose with a clear mind when the world is clouded. You don't control what triggers the sirens, but you do control what happens the second after. Inside your home, inside your body, inside your head, and tonight that's everything. And it's exactly enough.